Allow me to introduce myself. Who knows what dastardly crime you might perpetrate?
Hey guys, Bowie here, and this is Things I Learned with Miracle's Mirana in 7.06. Mirana got popular before patch 7.00, but eventually fell off, and when I see Mirana's playing, it feels like they're lost in time. I'm not saying that Mirana Eggs is inherently bad, but there's a lot of different playstyles that are available to Mirana right now that were not used at all back when Mirana got popular, and I'm here to talk about it. One of Mirana's biggest struggles is less hitting in the early game. They did increase her base damage a little bit and the agility gain, but it's not great at level 1. So I'm a big fan of the Fairy Fire instead of the second branch. As soon as Miracle reaches the lane, see how he draws aggro? Juggernaut knows that his attack animation is way better than Mirana, and he wants as many denies as possible. Since he's against a melee hero though, he can always try to get less hit and punish Juggernaut if he tries to get a deny like this. Also, since he's against a melee hero, he doesn't need to draw aggro all the time, because when Juggernaut is trying to get other creeps or when he's just like farther away, since he didn't learn any skill points, he has the luxury of standing super close to the creeps he wants to last hit without fearing Blade Fury or rotations, because he can easily just learn Leap. I want to emphasize how he doesn't learn any of his skills even though he is level 2 and Earth Spirit rotates here. Juggernaut obviously has Blade Fury, so throwing an arrow only to be sure that Juggernaut will dodge it is not ideal. I want to show how Miracle actually makes sure he can land his skills on Juggernaut and is all about keeping the harass up. Jugger has no kill potential on Mirana by himself, so in a lane like this, he will always have Blade Fury ready. The only way to deal with that is forcing him to commit Healing Ward or Blade Fury once. Healing Ward costs pretty much half of Juggernaut's mana, and Blade Fury has a very big cooldown, so these are the things you want to abuse. If you look at the minimap, he decided to use Starstorm as soon as the regen rune shows up in the left. The thing about Starstorm is that it's way more reliable to do damage than Arrow, and it's also way harder for Juggernaut to dodge. There's the animation, of course, and he is able to dodge it here, but we'll get back to that in a second. He makes sure to get the regen that he spotted, and here's the deal. Blade Fury's cooldown, as I said, at early levels is very big, and that allows him to easily damage and take Jugger out of the lane because of how easy Starstorm is to use compared to Arrow. Not only that, Blade Fury costs a lot of mana in the early levels. Healing Ward even more, and since Jugger is forced to use it here, pay attention how he checks Juggernaut's inventory to be sure there's no mana sources, allowing him to grab a Healing Ward with no fear whatsoever. I also want to mention his items. If you pay attention to Aquila, you get 19 damage out of it, which is a 10 damage increase compared to Wraithband. If you think about it, Blaze of Attack gives you 9 damage for pretty much the same price of Basilius. In agility heroes like Mirana that have Scapists, going straight Aquila instead of boots or phase boots makes sense cost-effective wise. This Jugger is not killing you anytime soon, you have Leap. All you want is being able to get as many last hits and denies from this lane to be able to scale later. Well, remember that Miracle checked Juggernaut's inventory last time? His mana is still very far away from Blade Fury level 2, and as soon as Miracle gets boots, he goes for the Leap into Starstorm combo. The intention here is landing super close to the enemy so that double Starstorm hits the enemy hero, but even though he fails, since he waited his boots to go for this play, he can easily grab a kill and leave unharmed. Miracle's map awareness keeps impressing me. If you pay attention, Nyx mentions that Alliance is missing, and Miracle easily confirms a rotation with the scan. He waits a little bit, and when he returns, since Earth Spirit was around, he ends up getting a double kill. Crispy scan. Now that we're talking about the game, I want to mention why the Mirana Eggs is less popular than before. The thing about that item is that you get online way later than the right-click Mirana. Going Eggs means that you only have things like HP and mana, and yes, Mirana deals a lot of magic damage in the early game, but any deaths can delay your power spikes for too long because you actually need to farm 4k gold, and then those items actually become something meaningful. The right-click build is also more interesting after Mirana was buffed to the second place in agility gain in the entire game. Her level 20 talent went up to 50 extra damage. Let's not forget how the eggs got slowly nerfed. When we talk about Mirana, I feel like people see her as this QoP type of hero that always rotates super early, that learns ult at level 6, especially when you're not going eggs. Don't get me wrong, this hero can rotate, but the only times that Miracle tries to attempt some sort of rotation is during room times. Mirana needs some items to get going, or she like really needs a big fight happening under her safe lane tower, and she farms the wave so reliably that it's not ideal to keep missing lane creeps until at least the 10-minute mark, sometimes even more. If we pay attention to the time Miracle rotated, it was at 10 minutes. He arrows the bounty rune to maybe snipe a support, and then at 10 minutes he tries to use that fight bottom to ult and maybe get a kill. But the regen was warded and he just goes back to farming. The first time he ever goes back to base is when he finishes his Yasha. Yasha is not the only item that right-click Mirana's go for at the beginning, but it's a great item on her. If you read the patch notes, the move speed on Lip is bigger now, which synergizes very well with Phase Boots and Yasha. This is probably why he maxed Lip without even getting the second pointing arrow. I've talked about it in other videos, but it's very common for pros to get a second pointing arrow since the damage increases 300% from level 1 to level 2. That being said, the enemies have a lot of ways to dodge arrow, so I feel like that's why he's avoiding it at the moment. After he gets the Yasha, his playstyle changes completely. It's clear how much he wants to fight and how much he avoids like being in the mid lane now. He TPs in the big team fight in the bottom lane, and after that he's constantly looking for arrows to snowball into kills. When you have Phase Boots, Yasha and max level Lip, you can commit Lip to finish an arrow target while being fast enough to get away from most enemy reactions because you're pretty much max move speed. Pay attention to the arrow. The secret to land arrows like this is looking for angles where there's the least amount of vision for the enemy to react. So it's nighttime, this angle here is way better than trying to land it directly from the lane, for instance, because he's going to see that arrow coming because his creeps are giving him vision in that area. Anyways, he misses it. He goes for a similar arrow minutes later, but it's like the same concept. He felt like Lion was going to walk towards the left side, but it doesn't matter since he has our spirit there. Another great aspect of the right-click Mirana is pushing towers. The old Mirana was great at shoving waves, but pretty slow at taking buildings down. Now here's the deal, back in 6.80 whatever, you didn't have 4 bounty runes. And what happens now is that with so many bounty runes and with Mirana being so slippery, this means that you can actually get the mana to shove the waves without being like, without mana to actually be productive in teamfights, and also go for the right click build, which is usually way better in the late game. BKB just completely counters the Mirana eggs, for instance. With the Yasha, Agility talent, and later the Damage talent, this hero packs a decent punch, and we see Miracle forcing Glyph top. It's usually scary for Mirana to fight against everyone without ult, so it's just safer to force Dire back, especially because he's forcing a tier 2 while the enemy is forcing a tier 1, so I mean, this is actually the right play anyways. The way Miracle plays after his first big item, be it Yasha or Dragonlance, is always farming the jungle, most of the time without using too much mana and trying to get as many runes as possible, while also always carrying a TP. Mirana is way better as a reactive hero than a straight up jump and kill people like kind of a Queen of Pain, unless they are already low in HP, so he makes sure to keep his farm up, while at the same time not show too much in the map unless the enemy team groups up to push. And then in this case he tries to force a tower or ult to grab people that are coming back. Understandably, he didn't got a lot of success roaming by himself in this game since a lot of the dire heroes are hard to hit arrows, but he made sure to get as much as possible from the mid lane and just kept his farm up while pushing lanes or trying to get kills when he wanted to look for runes. I mentioned at the beginning that he only rotated from the mid lane at 8 and 10 minutes to get the rune, but at 12 minutes here he is looking for runes, and that kill on Lion and Mansion happens pretty much close to rune time. The big benefit of the right click Mirana is that you can farm the jungle relatively well without spending mana, leaving you ready to go for kills without necessarily relying in farming as fast as possible to complete your eggs. 16 minutes he farms the camp as he goes for the bounty rune, and then he goes for another bounty as he farms this camp. So in the end he healed way more mana than he spent while creating pressure top and being ready to TP if needed. Mirana, unlike heroes like Zeus and Invoker, she is very slippery and hard to kill, so she wants to play around the runes because she makes great use of them while having very little chance of being killed during those excursions. See how he goes for the same play at 18 minutes? This hero is all about maintaining some resemblance of farm while playing kinda like a Queen of Pain in the mid game. But the real beauty of Mirana is that she relies way less in her ult or a specific item to get a kill. When Nyx finds Jugger here, it's very easy for Miracle to chain stun him, and that's an easy kill. It's worth noting how he doesn't lip straight away to get a kill. The buff duration of lip got nerfed very hard, so you can't rely it like you could before. Also, if Jugger somehow Omni Slashes after he lips, there's a chance he dies. Because he has lip, he easily dodges Lion Stun, and they translate that engagement into a tier 2. Another beauty of Mirana is how she's similar to Lina in having wave clear, but also physical damage to pressure towers, at least when you're building her like this. When they win this fight here, they can easily push top, even with very small respawn timers in the enemy team, and they take tier 3 in no time. Mirana has wave clear, but also has an escape, so unlike Lina, you're more survival, and she's able to give physical damage buff to carriers, so she's a good pairing with the likes of Terrorblade, Luna, Sven, and Juggernaut. They take that tier 3 in no time, and the game is pretty much won at this point. Guys, I know this video is kinda small, but lately I feel like something I neglected for a long time is finishing games as early as possible. BSJ opened my eyes to being more objective, and I feel like this game is a clear example of a team abusing power spikes and they're pushing power. This game was pretty much even until the last fight, but Radiant had urns, they push when they wanna fight, and that guarantees them structural damage. And since Mirana is so non-ultimate reliant to get kills, they get dire unprepared. Like a Quap wouldn't be able to get those kills after using her ult, but here they can go again. And since Dire fought one by one, they guarantee the game right here. Well, this is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please guys give it a thumbs up. I just want to remind everyone that I'm streaming every day, so if you're interested in seeing me trying to get back in form and raise my MMR, you can tune in, the link is in the description. Pugna is a platform that has been helping me ever since I began this channel. Those guys are great. You can find the extended version of these videos in their platform. They also have Oracle, which is a free platform. You just need to register on their website and you're gonna get a 360 of your play. You can compare yourself to people in your own MMR and MMRs above you and see what you really need to improve to get better.